Hey guys, this is Mark and Ian. We're doing the One Step Ahead show every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern Time. This is kind of to help all the interior designers out there and manufacturers with their social media marketing, learn tool techniques to get you that edge to get your business up and going a little bit better. A lot of those tech tools and tips out there aren't really specifically honed in for designers. We're going to talk a little bit about how some of these tips can help you specifically in the design industry, and hopefully that will help you get the edge on your competition. Learn a little bit about, what mics are nice, what lighting is good, and also what social media apps are really good for your business. If there's some new waves going on, new networks or anything like that, we'll let you know ahead of time. We're going to be hitting a bunch of topics that for you as a designer and a manufacturer, it really, really is important to learn. It gets a little overwhelming out there in the world as far as what to do, what not to do, where to invest your time specifically. A lot of designers don't really have a lot of time, and manufacturers don't have time to invest a whole lot of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to break it down for you guys to tell you that if you are going into the video realm, these are the type of things you should be using. These are the types of things we've used, we've tested, we like, and that really, really do work for your business. Like I said, if you could get anything from the show, it's how to be a little bit more efficient with your tools and techniques, marketing your own business. And like I said before, there's so much stuff out there. It's absolutely nuts. Instagram released a new thing right now where you can add actually Spotify music to Instagram stories. And for a lot of designers, I'm sure they're looking at this going like, how does that apply to my business? So we want to shed a little light on that and to show everyone a little bit about why this stuff should matter to you or why it really isn't something that should matter to you at this point. Focus on other things, focus on getting stuff right and executing. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Ian's doing a little bit of the sharing and then we're going to jump in. Hey, good morning, Rachel. How are you doing today? Rachel, I think maybe Rachel's ears are burning a little bit because we were talking about her yesterday, but always in a good way. And Rachel, we'll be highlighting Rachel as one of the people, the case studies, the designer case studies we'll be talking about today. So it should be kind of fun, should be kind of interesting. And like I said, we're going to jump right into it. So here we go. Okay, so like I said, is your video setup on point? Okay, that's one of the things that Ian and I kind of go back and forth. We've been doing videos for the last couple of years, or at least it seems like the last couple of years. And a lot of this stuff has changed in the video realm. Live videos come on like gangbusters. And as many people know, there are a lot of hiccups happening with live videos. Things are kind of, how can I say this? You don't really know what kind of quality you get when you go live. So you really have to make sure that your lighting, your audio, your background, things you can kind of control are pretty much spot on. And then when you flip that button to go live, well, you kind of leave it in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube's hands. But there's a lot you can do before you go live to kind of get you set up right. And this is one of the things that, you should really, really be focused on. Right, Ian?
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, marketing is right.
Hey, Debbie.
First of all, did you hear an echo right now, Mark, or no?
A little bit of an echo. Oh, by the way, guys, one of the things we want to say too is if for some reason there's an echo or for some reason the video isn't that good, let us know. The truth of the matter is when you do live videos, you don't really know how the audio and video are coming out because to you, it's in real time. So for the live videos, if you do see the audio cutting out or Ian gets carjacked, please let us know because we don't. So just let us know what's going on and we will correct that problem. That way we can give you the best quality live video there is. Hey, and how'd the sharing go? You good?
Yeah, sharing's good. And I think the echo should be taken care of now. I put my headphones in.
Okay. Like we talked. Wait, hold on just one sec. Like, I just want to say something. I've taught Ian everything he knows about video, so he's gonna. I'm joking. Ian, hit us hard. Go video. You're the king about this, so talk video.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what you said, Mark, getting your video on point. This translates into dollars, right? It does. If you go, we're talking about marketing your business. We're talking about, posting stuff on your social media. People are scrolling through your feed. You want them to stop. You want them to check out your content because you've got a call to action. You've got something you want them to do. If your video setup is not on point and and that's translating into poor content, you're never going to be able to get to that call to action. So, why does this topic matter? It translates into dollars. That's what I would say about that. And, like Mark said, today we're going to be talking about really specific practical insights and tips on how to get your video on point. So, Mark, should we get into the first one?
Yep, let's do it. Okay, our first case study and a good friend, Sandra Funk. Now, her lighting is just awesome. I love her show. She's developed the lighting over time, and the lighting is really spot on. The show's great. Design tips, you can catch that on Facebook. But the lighting is really, really amazing. And it's the thing I like about it also is the consistency of the lighting as well. So, I think there's a little bit of natural lighting in there as well as maybe some studio lights. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of natural light for sure. The fact is that, if you look at the quality of the light, it's a very balanced color. It's not too warm, not too cool. That's an indicator of clean natural light. She's probably got some big windows going on. What's really going well for her with her lighting is that notice how you don't have any dark shadows in the frame on her face. In the set, right under her eyes, she's getting a very nice, even light overall, and that's flattering, and that's attractive, and that's going to get people to stop and watch your video.
Yes, it will get people to stop, collaborate, and listen to what you got going on in the video, as Vanilla Ice once said. Okay, so check this out. So Sandra's stuff is rocking. Like I said, but here's the thing about Sandra. It took her a while to get to this level of having steady quality videos. And now she does. So for anyone else out there, the truth is you should be looking at some of the people who've been doing these videos for a while and kind of re-engineering what they've got going on. So that way you don't have to start from scratch. The beautiful part about these things is that, you look at it and you can say, well, what are they doing? And look, here's the thing. We highlighted a few people in the design industry in our little bubble, but there are other people outside this that are doing it amazingly as well. So you should definitely look around and see who's doing it. Who has the lighting, the sound, the background that you want? How are they doing it? Figure that out. It's not that hard. A lot of times also these people who do these YouTube channel videos, all this kind of stuff, break down their setups so you can actually get a little bit of a peek into what they're doing and how they're doing it. So I really love that as well.
Now, on that note, Mark, I know our audience really wants to get some actionable tips out of this video. So I've gotten some notes written down here on kind of some do's and don'ts for lighting. All right. So check this out. So number one, get the light source as close as possible to you. Light falls off very quickly. So here, check this out. I want to show you guys how close my light source is to my face. So check this out. I'm going to turn my computer around. I'm sitting right in front of a window. Not only that, I've got a lamp as well pointed at my face. That's how close the light is to me. Now, also I've got an overhead light there doing a spot on that mirror just to create some visual interest in the frame. But my point is, when you get the light source really close to you, you're going to get really nice light on your face. The further it is away from the further away from you the light is, the more shadows you're going to have, more sharp shadows you're going to have. The closer it is, the softer the light is going to be. Number two, create your number two is make your light as large as possible. All right, light your background. And then test it out. Make sure you're testing out your video. You're testing out your lighting. I was speaking. I know Mark and I speak about our lighting all the time, and the lighting that you see on Mark right now is the result of a lot of trial and error. Mark, let me ask you, how many trial and errors do you think it took you to get that light just right? Everything in the frame for you.
It took me a long time. I mean, the truth of the matter is everyone's seen my videos and they've steadily progressed to what I like now. Mm-hmm. So it took me a long time, a few trips to Home Depot, a lot of reviews, a lot of YouTube videos to kind of figure out my lighting. For me, for the distance my lighting is, okay, here's the thing. Number one, there's no light out there that is currently made that can compete with natural light. There's just nothing. They're all trying to imitate the way natural light reflects on your face. But for a majority of us, we go inside the house to do our videos. Now you need something to emulate natural light. What I mean by that is that you can get the normal like amber lights that you have in your house, and that's okay. But what you really want to do is emulate natural light. That's when your face, your image looks the cleanest, the best, the most natural.
So what color temperature? So what color temperature, Mark, should they be looking?
God, I mean, honestly, I don't know the temperature perhaps, but I will tell you one thing, that when I went to Home Depot, they had natural light, and that's what I shot for. And it's what you should be aiming for. The ring light that I used, the ring light that I purchased, was something that it guaranteed me to have the exact same effects as natural light.
You want to show us your ring light or no? All right.
No, it's going to screw up myself. But I will tell you one thing. About maybe a foot or two away from my face is a ring light, is a high definition camera. On top of me is a light. And for just general knowledge, my background is blue, and I'll tell you why. Blue tends to be the color that attracts the most eyeballs out there. Out of all the colors online, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, if you have a hint of blue, it tends to attract eyeballs more than any other color. Okay. Now here's a big, huge tip on my part. Now, if you see my face color, I actually adjusted my camera to give me a little shade of blue as well in my face. Not a lot, because I don't want to look sickly, but enough to actually attract eyes. They actually did research, and they did studies that say that if you do up the blue in your content, you will actually get more views. It becomes a little bit more pleasing, calming, and soothing. So blue tends to be the #1 color to attract visitors and people to check out your videos.
All right, cool, Mark. I like that. I like that. And let me hit a couple don'ts on lighting. All right, make sure you're not doing this. Make sure you don't have a window behind you. Make sure you don't have a window behind you, and here's why. Not only is it going to blow out the background, it's just going to be like that overexposed part of your frame, and we'll get into that when we talk about backgrounds. But more importantly, having a window behind you is going to cause your camera to adjust the exposure such that your face is dark. That's what's going to happen, and it's going to, and that's not an inviting face. You want your face to be bright, filled in with light, and inviting. So you make sure you're not putting any windows behind you, and also use a light that doesn't irritate your eyes. I would say use a light that you can look into for at least like 30 minutes to an hour. That's really important as well. I've had lighting situations where after I got off my video, I was just like, I can't see anything, So that's what I would say about don'ts for lighting. That's what I've got. Yeah.
I got one more. Okay. Also, the other thing too is test distance with the lighting too. Every distance is going to give you somewhat a different kind of like lighting shade on your face and shadow. So test distance of your lighting. Don't be afraid to bring it out, bring it close, move it around, and kind of really see where you feel your face does pop. Then what I would say to you is go a little brighter. Always go a little brighter, never go darker. For some reason, even if you think you're at the perfect level, it does show a little darker on camera. But again, I would test the lighting distances too. Move it up, move it back, find out where that perfect spot is, then mark. And also a thing I do too is I take my camera and I'll take a photograph of how my set is set up precisely, the distances. That way going forward, I know exactly how to set it up, and I don't have to kind of go through like, oh God, what did I do last time? So take photos to kind of guide you as far as your lighting setup goes.
I like that. Should we move on to our next section, Mark?
Yes. Okay, guys, sound. Now, many times people jump on live videos and they have echoes. Ian, sorry about that. My throat, really bad day. No, echoes do happen. I mean, they happen for everyone. So before we jump into talking about Kim, let's talk also about echoes a little bit. Now, when you go live, there's a lot of things that get thrown at you. A lot of little things that do happen. So if you have your mic, the distance of your mic, Facebook open or whatnot, you're going to have these type of echoes. So it's really important for you to test the sound also. And also the lighting and probably the background as well. But sound, I think, is very, very huge. You need to know how the sound is going to be sounding to you after the fact. I go through the videos that Ian and I do, and I listen to the sound, and I think to myself, is that a good or is that not? Sound is huge. Sound can really turn a person off really, really quick to a video. I mean, they'll listen to it, and if it just sounds crackly or if it sounds off, they're gone.
Right.
What do you think about sound, Ian?
Yeah, I like that, and I've got a couple notes written down here too in terms of do's and don'ts for sound. Here's one. Obviously, be in a quiet place, right? If there's significant background noise, make sure you're using a mic. These, Apple earbuds typically work just fine. I mean, if you really want to take it to the next level, if you're trying to be a YouTube star and you're doing your 4K video and you're trying to get picked up by Netflix, then you definitely obviously want to be using a prosumer level mic like the one that Mark's got. What do you got, the Blue Yeti there, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, the Blue Yeti.
The truth of the matter is, for my mic, the reason why I got it is more for prop than anything else. It is a fantastic mic. It's probably one of the best mics on the out there. But the reason why I also like it is for a prop as well. And that kind of ties in the background. Right.
And I see Joseph just said any mic recommendations. Joseph, what I can say, first of all, before any mic recommendations, let me just say that these days the internal mic of a computer or like these earbuds here, they're going to get you really, really good sound for hearing, the range of your voice, etc. You don't need to go pro. But if you do, like I said, want to get picked up by Netflix or whatever, Blue Yeti. Blue Yeti is probably the most trusted I would say prosumer level mic out there that you can plug into your computer. Blue Yeti, BLUEYETI.
Hey, Ian, let's talk a little bit about Kim, though. I'll say one thing I love about Kim is that the sound that she has, I mean, she's using, the Apple headphones microphone. But the thing that I really like about Kim's style is her tone of voice that she lays out there too. She must have done testing for the sound. It really feels like she has such an inviting tone, friendly. There's nothing. It seems like you're kind of like you're coming in her house and you're going to grab a glass of wine or some tea and relax and really talk. And I love the tone that she sets from the moment she speaks to the moment she leaves. It's very, very inviting. It's very warm. And I think that not only is her equipment spot on, but it's also that she has a tone that flows very, very well with videos. What do you think, Ian?
I like that, Mark. I totally agree with you. And this actually leads right into an actionable tip, which is when we create videos, we really should be listening back to the videos to get that feedback loop, to see how we sound. So we know if we're speaking unnecessarily loud, which I tend to do sometimes, like I'll kind of like start, speaking louder than I need to, but so listening back to it, if you listen back to your videos enough time, you'll really, when you're actually doing your videos, you'll be able to monitor yourself, and you'll know that even if you speak like this, and even if you just use a voice like this, it will work, and you don't have to be worried about people not hearing you. So it's really important to create that feedback loop by listening to your past videos.
Oh, hey, one more thing about about Kim's show too. The one thing is that I do really love about Kim is she is classic grace under pressure. I mean, honestly, I've seen sometimes where the show, the connecting, because Facebook does have its little glitches with connecting. Right. She keeps her tone perfect. And she rocks it. A lot of people freak out. I've done it. I freak out sometimes when people can't jump in or whatnot. Kim keeps a great tone and a great vibe in the thing. And some of that's equipment, but some of that's her. So Kim, by the way, also all the shows we're mentioning too, you should definitely check out. Don't take our word for it. Go check out their shows. Take a look at what we're talking about. And you'll really get it. Look for these specific things that we're also mentioning in these specific shows, like for Sandra for her lighting, Kim for her sound. And the truth of the matter was Ian and I talked last night, and it was hard to pick out the specific thing in each one because they're doing pretty much all of them pretty well. So we don't want to say that this is the one thing they're doing right. They're doing a lot of things right. This is the one thing that stood out for us to mention today. Right. So Ian, what do you think? What else would you say about sound?
I think we've pretty much covered it. I think the most important thing probably is just, in terms of things to avoid recording in a loud environment without a mic. Avoid recording right next to a refrigerator. That hum is going to really affect the sound. But other than that, you guys, microphones are pretty good these days that if you are recording in a quiet environment, speaking directly into your computer or earbuds, you're going to be fine for most case scenarios, unless you're trying to get picked up by Netflix. Then you need a prosumer level mic.
Okay, well, I want to hit one more. Here's a tip, and this is a very simple and basic tip that anyone can do. Now, these are common sense tips that everyone should realize. One is always go wired before Wi-Fi. Wired is a steadier connection than anything Wi-Fi related for a Wi-Fi mic. It just is the way it is. Now, number two, and this is it should be pretty obvious. The closer the mic is to your mouth, the better the sound. So if you have a lavalier mic that's like a couple inches from your mouth, like you're going to get the best sound. My mic is amazing, but it will not give me the exact sound of a good lav mic that maybe costs you 20 or 30 bucks. So remember that idea, that concept that one is wired is always better. Yeah. Two, the closer you can get the mic to your mouth, the better the sound will be. Okay, yeah. Those are the rules. That's basically, like common sense. That's how you should think about it. So at times people will look at a mic and go, oh my God, look at this. That's amazing. All the newscasters, all the people on TV, they use lav mics because it gets really, really close to their mouth. There's not a lot of like outside, like wind or any outside noise because the mic is so close to their mouth. So if someone's screaming over there, it doesn't get caught really up in the mic. Now for me, if something happens outside or like my 3-year-old comes through screaming for milk, my mic will catch it. Lav mic, not so much. So think of those rules. One is keep it as close to your mouth as possible. Two is keep it wired as much as you want to go for the Wi-Fi thing or the wireless thing. And I get it. I'm with you. Those are the rules of the road as far as sound goes.
I like it. Let's hit backgrounds.
All right. Backgrounds. Now, Ian was funny last night. Okay. So we set up Rachel and he sends me a text. He's like, Mark, all the other people you mentioned their shows, but Rachel, you put her name up there.
Right.
I was like, for good reason. Now we're going to mention her background as far as design, her podcast. But the other thing too is like the thing I love about Rachel is she's out and about doing stuff. You can't get a better background than like live stuff when she does her riffs. Visual. She went to what? Tulum on the pyramids and did lives. She did this. I mean, for me, I also look at it as like creative. That's awesome. You should go out there. You should be walking, talking, showing like what it's all about. That's how this whole thing started with reality TV. So for me, I'll also commend her as far as doing the whole like traveling, showing some visual of the backgrounds. I want to see Tulum. I want to see some of the stuff that she's showing. So for me, I'll give her total props on that background too, because nothing beats new, fresh backgrounds, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that, Mark. And definitely, getting on location is good. But there's also something to be said for creating a background in your home that is repeatable, that you don't have to think about it. That all you need to do is focus on the content. Like Mark, you've got your background set up. This morning, you were not thinking about your background, your tech, your mic, your lighting. You were thinking about content. Same thing with me, because I've got my thing set up. And for those out there who are really looking to create a lot of video or on a consistent basis, it is important to create a repeatable setup. So, and that's really what a lot of what this episode is all about. Now, when we look at Rachel's setup here, this one really caught my eye. And actually, Rachel has like at least 3 or 4 backgrounds, or we could call them vignettes, in her home that are really, really good. She got the most out of anyone that I've seen out there. And what I really like about this particular background that Rachel has done is that there is so much visual interest that it supports her brand. If you look, it's clearly a designer. It's in alignment with her kind of core philosophy of design, which is that she calls herself a maximalist, right?
I like that.
And so, I mean, there's all these visual cues in Rachel's background, that really help her brand when someone's scrolling. And plus, it just looks dang good, And so when someone's scrolling through, they're going to get a really good idea of Rachel, right off the bat. Now, I asked Rachel last night. I was talking to her, and I said, "Is there any particular tip that you would like to share with our audience?" And hi, Rachel, if you're out there, what's up, Rachel? And Rachel said, consider pulling in brand colors and brand elements into your background. And that's what we're really seeing her do here. I mean, I don't know if she has a particular brand color, but you know, kind of those brand elements, that's what she's doing. And the other thing I'll say about it is when you start to experiment with putting elements in your background, I would say that it's important to make sure that there's enough elements. And what I mean is, imagine if there was just, you know, that book behind her, or just that plant, or just, it's going to pigeonhole. Or for me, imagine if it was just that mirror, or just that bookcase, or just that frame. You know, it's like it sends too specific of a message. If you're going to be doing a background like this, you want it to be varied enough that it kind of, it has visual interest, but it has balance, you know, and someone's not going to be like, oh, that's the plant lady, or that's the book lady, or that's the bookshelf guy, you know. So that's what I would say about that. Go ahead.
And the thing also I like is the fact that you can really tell that she puts a lot of time and care into her background, and that she's developed it over time. Like, she's got her process down, and she follows one of the rules that I tell anyone who wants to jump into videos: do it every day and just stick with it and get better and better and better. Like, she does it without fail. So I give her props for that, because, you know, I'm sure if you look at the first videos that she was doing, she was probably like, ooh, but she grew, she got better, she advanced. Look, if you're going to be doing videos, every video you should step up your game. You know, you really, really should. You owe it to your audience to do it. So I would say step up, and she does. She really does. Her, if you look at her on her podcast with Dixie, it's great when she does her Rachel riffs. I mean, she does great with what she's given. I mean, when you go live and you do remote lives, I mean, it is honestly like, it is like 50% what you bring, and it's 50% what you get. So like, it really is one of those things where the quality of the signal, the quality of this, you could, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. So she really does bring it. And I really do love her like bright backgrounds, and she really brings it. So, you know, for me, that really impresses me. Oh, hey, the other thing too I wanted to note is these are just 3 programs that just caught our eye. The truth of the matter is there's a lot of people doing a lot of amazing, creative, innovative stuff out there. So what I would suggest too is take a little time, check out a lot of people live broadcasts, a lot of people's produce shows, and just find the little pieces that actually appeal to you. Ian and I, we're specific people. We like specific things. So stuff does stick out to us, but everyone's different. Everyone's going to look at something and go, wow, that's really cool. So I would also say, look around at the different live programs out there. Everyone's putting their heart and soul.
Are there any particular people that you would suggest they take a look at, Mark?
Well, here's my suggestion to anyone in the design industry is don't feel like you need to only stick to people in the design industry, but look at live shows that are outside the design industry. People who are doing shows that it may be in the fashion industry, people who are doing it, who are influencers, doing kind of cool stuff. A lot of the times we get pigeonholed in the design industry because we're seeing the same videos and the same people over and over, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Supporting our community is part of the reason we do this. But also look outside. If you could bring a technique, if you can bring an influencer that's doing something right into our group, we all benefit from that. So I would say look outside the box. You know, like for myself, if I spend time on YouTube getting inspiration, it's for people that are, for some reason, exploding on YouTube, doing things that are a little outside of the box. And then I think of how I can re-engineer them and present them to the design industry. That's just me.
Cool. I like it.
So Ian, anything else about what we've talked about here?
You know, for background, I would also say just consider the space around your head. You know, Mark's done that really well. Obviously, he got his Jesus halo. I've very intentionally made sure that mirror and that frame are not like right behind my head. Rachel kind of has done this. Look at what Rachel's done. See how she's got that kind of circle there as well. Typically, you just want to consider that space. That's a very important space, because as someone's scrolling down your feed, if you've got like some weird kind of thing that's like, imagine if I had like something black on the wall right here, and imagine how that would kind of do something where my hair would kind of like extend into that black object, and it creates a weird visual. So yeah, just consider the space around your head.
Actually, that brings me up to a point. Okay, for a little while, I was doing these videos with a black background. The only thing that really came into huge play for me was the fact that my hair was blending to the background. So, you know, that's something you should definitely consider as well. Like test your stuff, test your background, test your sound, test out all that stuff. Go live, but only to yourself. You can actually do that on Facebook where you go live just to yourself. So then you can go back and see how the live does. One thing that we haven't talked about today that we probably should have, in a retrospect, I wish we did. I would always say too, before you go live, test your bandwidth. Okay, if you're going to do a live video, test your bandwidth to make sure the bandwidth is good and your quality is out there, is kind of coming out the way you want it to come out to as well. Mm-hmm. But I'd say as far as videos in general, produced and live, these are the three things you should be working on constantly. Always be working, always get better. You really, really want to get your craft to a level that you don't have to think about the background. You don't have to think about the audio. You don't have to think about this stuff. It's just so on point that you can focus on the one thing you should be focusing on: content.
Yeah.
Content is king and quality is queen. So make sure you stick it out there and make sure it is doing great for you. So once you get these things on point, you can focus on delivering a good message to a great audience.
Right. I like that. So let's start to wrap this up here. So we've talked about lighting, audio, and background. Thanks again to Kim, to Sandra, and to Rachel. And again, their shows, for Kim, it's Design Chat. For Sandra, it's Design Sips. And Rachel is on Design and Style podcast with Rachel and Dixie. She also does her Rachel's Daily Riff. So check those out. Thanks again to those ladies. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about next week here. So some of you traveling. So some of you guys know I'm actually leaving tomorrow morning for a 2-week trip. And Mark and I were like, I told Mark last week, I was like, hey, we might have to miss a week because I'm traveling. He was like, well, how about doing a show about traveling, you know? And so so next week we're gonna be talking about creating content while you're on the road, and kind of content concepts, ideas for concepts, and also just kind of tips to keep in mind to make sure that you're able to create quality content while on the road.
Well, here's the thing too. Okay, like check this out. Like Ian has gone remote. He has done these live broadcasts, but that was kind of a while ago. He really hasn't done one of these things in a while. So we're going to also go from scratch. He's going to he's not going there with like a microphone or all this kind of stuff. So he's going to take it from scratch for the average person that goes there. Like, what is he bringing? How is he preparing for it? Is he checking Wi-Fi? Is he going set up a background or people, getting in the shot? Like, how does he prepare? So he's going to really be the one talking next week on exactly how he started from packing to getting there, to setting up, and to delivering a good, solid, live traveling broadcast. His promo video that he'll be running too will be basically a montage of him packing, getting ready to go to the airport and all that kind of stuff. He didn't know about that, but now I'm throwing it out there, so he kind of has to do it.
We'll see. It's a good idea.
Packing his little Italian bikini for the Mirage pool and everything, so it'll be good. So hey, let me ask you something, Ian. Okay, like when you were telling me, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be traveling, so I can't do the show. And I said, well, why don't you do it traveling? Now you're a tech guy, so what are the things that came in your mind that you had to prepare for? What were the first flashes in your head? What you need to actually make this happen?
Charge my devices before I leave, first of all.
Okay.
That's one of the first things that came to mind. I'm also thinking about how many bags I need, because I already know I'm going to have to check a bag because of the gear that I'm going to have to bring. My gear takes up a significant amount, so I just have to be aware of that as well,
Okay.
So.
Well, we'll be there next week, and Ian will be, chilling in Vegas, going live. So now it's our time to close out. And Ian, you want to take it?
Sure. So yeah, thanks for everyone that tuned in today. This was episode 3. We were talking about your video setup. Mark and I are really enjoying this show, connecting with you guys. Thank you for everyone who commented, asking questions and showing your support. We are actually still figuring out how to, respond to your comments live, but we're looking forward to kind of making this show, relatively interactive. For today, thank you again. And if this content was valuable for you, if there's someone you think that would benefit from seeing this, feel free to share it. And yeah, and again, this is One Step Ahead Live with Mark and Ian, a weekly power hour of tech and techniques to market your design business. How about you, Mark? Any closing comments?
No, I'm good. Hey, look, check this out. If any of the things we've talked about, you need a little background on, lighting, mics, or any of that stuff, just send us a message directly to this page, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Also, Ian and myself will go through all the comments and answer them one by one. So if you do have a question on this, even if it is regarding the lighting that we're using, please feel free to leave those, and we'll be sure to answer those. One of the things we want to do is to be sure that if you have a question, we do answer it, and we are attentive to what you need as far as techniques and tips for making your content really, really good. And like Ian said, share it if you think people are going to enjoy this, and if you think there's other people out there that that would enjoy it, share it. If not, totally up to you. It balls in your court for that. And that's it. I mean, I think we're good with that, right?
It's good.
All right, we're going, guys. See you next week.